it's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Arsenal Lounge. We've got another fantastic episode lined up for you guys with obviously the regulars, the wonderful, the knowledgeables, the amazing, the fantastic three rather. I'll start with Mo. How are you, Mo? You good? Welcome.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I've enjoyed the little pre-match. We should have just started recording before the pre-podcast banter, because whoever was watching last week, you would have enjoyed it. Shaheen the Queen got a bit dramatic.
Oh, he took it there straight away. 1 minute, 4 seconds, Mo.
One day he comes there, he calls me Kolasinac. Then he comes and then calls me what is this, man?
Listen, man, I can't resist. So yeah, we're giving Shaheen a bit of stick, I think, and long may it continue. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, wonderful. Tom, how are you, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm really good. I
found it funny to say about that guy.
Well, I was going to say last week you opened up the show by insulting Lee Judges, and I noticed that this show you've opened us up by calling us wonderful people, assuming that we're now going to treat you really well.
I was hoping I'll do that so you guys will leave me alone, but you haven't. But yeah, very welcome, man. And my brother, my Turkish brother, Levanja, how are you?
No, I'm starting a new campaign. I'm starting a new campaign. Free Devan. Bring him back. That's all I gotta say.
I don't know if he's blocked or not, but
no. Yeah. Listen, any one of those little like moments, I am ready for him. You just drop them, Shaheen. You just do you, boo.
Well, a wise man told me last week that I should have dealt with it differently. So this week, I'm going to say everybody who wants to insult me, please do it via super chat.
No. Oh, that's an interesting new type of super chat. Abuse Shaheen chat.
Yeah, but listen, then Shaheen, if anyone actually does that, then you got to stay true to your word. I don't care what they say. I don't care how brutal they are.
No,
we'll see what
you've got to read it out. Yeah.
Oh,
I love that.
This is monetization.
This is a mental challenge, This is hashtag mental health and all that.
Oh my days!
I'm tempted to send in a super chat, just saying Shaheen's just to hear him say it, so we can screen grab it. Brilliant.
So he's basically just gone out there and said, if anyone wants to abuse me, feel free to, as long as you pay it by super chat.
And he has to read it out.
Abuse a chat.
I can't believe you guys are doing this to me. I've been nothing but nice to you guys.
We do not condone any form of abuse on this channel.
Anyway, this is an Arsenal lounge, not a Shaheen lounge. So let's get involved with a football chat. Mo, you went to the game. What was your thoughts on the game?
God, it was not impressive. But, the thing is, with Arsenal, it's just one of those things where when you win, it's about how you win. When you lose, people say it's just about just get a result, So it's almost like sometimes you've got to kind of have a bit of consistency. Against Brentford, I thought it was going to be a struggle, and I just thought, I just want to eke out a win no matter how we do it, sort of thing. That's what we did against Norwich. And this time it was even more necessary than it was against Brentford. With City and Chelsea, it's a different story. But against teams like Brentford and Norwich, when the team maybe is low on confidence or you're already nervous, that's when I revert to that, to say it's just about results. So when we do just get the result, then come on. At that point, let's just turn around and say, well, fair play. It's something to build on. It's not where we want to be, but it's something to build on. And not only that, same day, Tottenham lost as well, got battered by Patrick Vieira's team. Please, man, this season has been going on for a month and it's felt like a decade. Please, let us enjoy, for the first time this season, we can enjoy a Premier League day. Please let us enjoy it without getting criticised for having no ambition because we're not happy about how we won. We're just happy that actually we're not angry. So, I was just relieved, even though it was a rubbish game.
Fair enough. Tom?
Yeah, I came out of the game mixed. I was very happy with the result. I was just relieved. I think the initial emotion was just relief, to be honest, that we got the win. I went into it confident. I think what did I say? Something like 5-0 the other day going into it. I think a lot of people expected us to be a lot better. And I was one of them. And I think arguably it was probably a bit naive considering the first 3 games of the season and how we've played so far. So I think the reason why there's maybe not as much positivity is maybe what we would like to see is probably because people expected a lot more, which is probably unreasonable considering how we have started so far this season to expect us to go in and absolutely smash Norwich. Whilst I would have loved for that to be the case, I just don't think that was a realistic thing that was probably going to happen. But we ground it out. We got the result. I mean, if we're real, we did limit Norwich to only a couple of clear-cut chances, and the ones that they did have, we dealt with very well. Gabriel really saved our skin at the end with that last-minute block on Timu Pukki, which I'm sure we'll go into some of the finer details of the game. But I was happy with some of the stuff I saw. The clear criticism, if I do have one, is still this kind of an absence of a clear style, despite having a lot of our first-team players back. And I think the more that they get to play together and the more Partey's in the lineup, the more Lokonga plays, the more that Ben White and Gabriel play together and Ramsdale starts that distribution from the back, the more consistency that's there, the more maybe we'll see that style. And that's going to be a really kind of defining moment for Arteta in the opening parts of the season.
Okay. Just before I come to you, Lev, I want to say good evening to everybody in the chat as well. Thank you for joining us. I want to say a special shout out to Gooner Glenn. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing the show on your Twitter, man. I appreciate it. Lev, what's your thoughts?
The one thing I will say I've taken from this game, and I'm trying to be positive. I'm a bit like Mo. I mean, let's enjoy it. It was a good day for us. So I do agree with that. There were some things I saw. The most positive I will take from that game, it was fortunate that we had sort of like a Norwich to do it with, but it was the first time we had everybody back, right? And for the first time, I looked at that team, and it made sense in the sense of where everybody was playing and whose job was what. I was looking at that team, and I thought, okay, we didn't perform the best. It is everyone coming back together and gelling, but you could clearly see everyone was meant to be in those positions, and it worked. It makes sense where these people. That was the first time I've looked at an Arsenal team for a long time with Arteta and gone, all right, I can't argue with that. Other than obviously AZ made the nails in for Partey, but you could argue Partey wasn't quite ready to start. I thought it was bold that he went with Ramsdale. He went in there and he said, "Listen, Ramsdale, you're going in straight." And to be fair, on the ball, Ramsdale looks a different prospect. I could start to see why. And we did say 24 million. He's not going to be a backup. So I don't want to go into it too much, but that's the positives I took from it. It looked like you could actually, that's a team to build with, and then you could take somebody out and easily put somebody else back in a position, and that team still should function. It made more sense to me. That's the most I'll take from that game, and it was nice that we got a win.
And I just want to add to that what Lev's saying. Yeah. There's one thing about kind of taking positives or being positive about something, and there's another thing, sort of like just enjoying a day. I'm not taking any long-term positives from this, and I don't think anyone is. I don't think this has changed the trajectory of our season. I don't think it's changed our opinions about Mikel Arteta. It is only Norwich at the end of the day. It was only West Brom when we won 6-0. Our wins this season it's not even a drop in the ocean compared to our problems. But we are still allowed to enjoy the 90 minutes, and we are still allowed to kind of say, usually Arsenal ruin my weekends. Actually, on this occasion, it's not going to ruin my weekend. What I don't get is when fans are kind of like, yeah, we won, but I'm still annoyed because we should have won by 4, and all of that might be true. But
Mo, you say that, right? That's the next thing I was going to bring up, discuss. I actually agree with Tom in terms of the performance. I thought the word is a bit unconvincing. That's the word I'll be looking to use. But moving on from that, I want to ask you guys for your opinion on this. As Mo just said, and you guys briefly touched on this, there is 2 category of fans. Ones that they will say, we should be happy we won, regardless. You can only beat what's in front of you. Let's be happy we got 3 points. We're off the mark. We scored a goal. And there's another kind of set of fans that will say, yeah, okay, we won. That was 3 points. But, that was Norwich. We should have done better. We should have scored more goals. Arteta still needs to be sacked. And, but we needed to do more. Which side of the which side of the argument rather are you in, and what is your thoughts on each set of fans? Tom, I'll start with you because I know you were just talking about this on your show, but go on.
It's I'm someone that has my mind very much open to changing, and I'm not one to be embarrassed by the notion of changing my mind on a point that I've held. I mean, I'd change my point of view on Arteta from the complete one end of the spectrum to the other after the whole Villarreal situation, because the evidence that was there suggested to me that I could no longer hold the position on the manager that I had, and I'm not going to stubbornly sit in that court. And where I am now with kind of the manager is that I am accepting of, as a fan, that nothing's going to change. Like right now, the manager's not going to go. Like I think we sat down and we all said, like, if we lose to Norwich, surely he has to go. And in my mind, I'm going, yeah, surely he would have to go if we lost to Norwich. But then my head's going, but he won't. Like, he'll still be here and the club will not move him on yet. So I'm kind of parking the whole, from my own fan perspective, of arguing whether Arteta should stay or go. And I'm just taking things game by game. And I'm just seeing, where can I see these points of improvement, especially now we're getting some key players back. So, like, an advice to the fans would be, like, don't waste your energy on, like, the whole tweeting abuse and Arteta out and all of this. Just watch the games, take your criticisms, take the positives of what you see, and then, formulate an opinion upon that. But I just feel like it's going to be a waste of energy shouting for the managers to go when the likelihood is that he isn't. So I'd rather look at yesterday's game and go, I like these certain things. I think we need to develop in these areas. And then going into Burnley, I'll be looking at those areas of development and thinking, right, have they improved? Have we achieved those areas of development, or have we not? And that's how I'll keep measuring that opinion of him.
Okay. Mo, Tom has a point in this. And, if we go and lose to Burnley, then this win really means nothing unless we're going back up. As you know, in football, it's all about the next game now. What's your thoughts on this notion that some people are saying, yeah, we should have done more, we should have played better, still, it's not good enough. And there's some people saying, no, we're happy we won. You guys should be happy that we just won a game.
I think both of those things are true. Yeah, in isolation, yes, we should have done more, but we can also be happy that we won. And this is where my personal style is that I like to have conversations that are a bit better, a bit more mature than the really polarized views that you get with football fans, and especially online. Because when you speak to your friends, people are generally a bit more balanced. As soon as you go online, all of a sudden, for clicks, people have to take a position, and that position has to be sort of like newsworthy, front page worthy. We were rubbish, we should have done more, or yes, Arteta's turning it around. And the reality is, come on, it's obviously going to be somewhere in between. So I think both of those things are true, but what I would like to do is let's find that mature grey area where we can turn around and say, Arteta, has not convinced anyone with this Norwich win, and we need to view this as not good or bad, but as something to build on. And when none of us have got any experience as Arsenal fans of being bottom of the league, never, anyone. This is completely uncharted for everyone. So we don't actually know how hard it is to pull yourself away from that and to repair that confidence that obviously would have been battered in the first month of the season. So today, if ever was a game where it was all about the result, it was Norwich. Because now it's not so much a game where we go and pull out conclusions as a result of the game, but it's something to build upon. So now that's what I'm looking for. Against Burnley, can we see some incremental improvement leading into that Tottenham game? Can we go and make a proper fist of being competitive and making sure we don't lose in that game? These are the questions that will tell us whether the Norwich game was actually good or not. Because if we build on it, it was good. And if we don't build on it, then it was just a positive blip.
Yeah, Lev, it's hard to argue with that. No,
I was going to say exactly the same thing as Mo. I would agree with both sides. Yes, it was good that we won, but do I think that Arteta, should be moved on in the future? Is the overall issue being resolved? No, it hasn't. So it's exactly the same thing as I stand in exactly the same sort of position as Mo in this sense. I mean, this is the whole point. We should be able to have open discussions about this as fans and not go chastise someone because their opinion is slightly differing to yours. You know, there's two sides to every story. And in this case, we won as fans. We're happy. But on the flip side, am I happy overall? No. You know, we've been saying it for quite some time that we think he's out of his depth as a manager. And I personally think, I mean, Tom's saying he doesn't think he'll go, but I don't know. If he loses 3 more back-to-back, they're still going to keep him? I think the pressure's a little bit different now, Tom, because, I mean, look, Simon Jordan and Danny Murphy have come out on TalkSport just now saying they think the Norwich win was a stay of execution, right? So there's that point. So there's that feeling there. And these guys tend to get a bit of a feeling under the surface. And then on top of that, to add a little bit of more spice to the upcoming games, especially with Spurs, apparently Spurs are about to overtake us in the UEFA rankings, the first time in 29 years. So the fans on that side have every right to feel like they've waited and things have got worse and haven't got better. But at the same time, we as fans, we've got to back our team on the day, and we've got to be happy when we get 3 points. It's ridiculous otherwise to be a fan, isn't it?
It's one thing though, me, Lev, Tom saying these things, but we're 3 guys that know football. We need to go to people that don't have a clue about football. So Shaheen, what do you think? What's your opinion?
Fucking hell, Mo, man. You're putting me on the spot here. No, you know, since I don't know nothing about football, I'm with Tom on this. I think it is a fair argument to say, yeah, both sides are right. But I predicted a 3-0 win for Arsenal, right? And I would have liked to have seen a similar sort of scoreline and a performance that goes with it. It looked it's unconvincing. You know what I mean? If they go away to Burnley and play like this, they will struggle. If they play like same thing against Spurs, they will struggle.
The Spurs lost to Palace. Yeah,
but it's North London derby level. You know they're going to be up for it, and you know our players, they're not the type that will be all ready and up for it. Remember last time round, our captain was late for the game, so I am more on the side that we should have done better. Yes, it's great we won, but it's expected. You know, Arteta is expected to beat Norwich. He's just done his job. You know, we shouldn't all stand there and clap him for beating Norwich 1-0. But in the same time, yeah, I understand that, you know, what people are trying to say. And obviously, this leads me to the next conversation that I wanted to have with you guys. The most interesting thing for me was the inclusion of Ramsdale over Leno. And I wanted to ask you guys, how do you see this? Because prior to the show, I don't think many people, includes myself, who don't know nothing about football, would have thought that Leno would start over Ramsdale.
I did say when we were buying him.
No, you did say he's not coming in to be backup.
He's not coming in to be a backup. And
but I didn't think this quick, Lev. And I'm not sure
he's clearly better on the ball, wasn't he?
Knock or something. What are you? Well, you're speaking to me about it, Lev. Why don't you start it off? You think this is going to be a regular thing now?
I personally think that Ramsdale plays out from the back and distributes better as well. He's much more confident with the ball, and he's got an air of confidence. And I think you don't just play a goalie that's good with his feet once or twice and then drop him. You know, because that's not something you can. It's not like goalkeeping in general. Okay, is to keep the ball out, but some goalies are naturally good on the ball with their feet, and some aren't. If he has decided, and I'm just saying this, if he has decided that Ramsdale's better with the ball at his feet, you can't teach somebody that now. You can't make somebody a better footballer now. So I see that happening a lot more than we expect.
Look, I agree with everything you're saying, right? But this quick. Well,
it's happened.
Just boom, like that, dropped, and away you go.
I think it's a brave decision, Shaheen.
I mean, look,
yeah,
Leno,
it was.
Leno didn't do badly in his last game. I remember he making a couple of really, really good saves. Mo,
this is a really, really interesting conversation because on one hand, I was critical of how we used our resources, how we used our transfer budget. It makes a lot more sense to me now if he's in the team almost instantly that we spent £24 million on him. Because if the manager thinks that there's a huge, huge difference to our game by having Ramsdale versus Leno, then it makes sense to spend £24 million of our budget on him, because we need to see that difference now. My criticism wasn't of the signing. It was a case of, why is that money being wasted on the bench? But I didn't expect him to start, because I thought, how harsh on Leno. Leno, against Chelsea, pulled off a wonder save. In fact,
that header from Lukaku.
Yeah, he actually kept it respectable. Even against Man City, he pulled off good saves. So I thought to myself before the Norwich game, it would be very unfair, very harsh on Leno to be dropped. But the fact of the matter is, Arteta's gone and done it. So that's one thing where I'd potentially praise the backroom staff and Arteta, because they're showing why they spent that money, and they're showing a bit of bravery and ruthlessness, even though I think it's harsh on Leno. But then what I would say is that if Leno can be dropped so quickly, why the hell can't Mikel Arteta and Edu? Where's that ruthlessness from above them? If I was Leno, I'd be thinking, wow, that's all it takes for me to get dropped, yet the manager's been rubbish for months and doesn't get dropped.
Or you can say the same thing about some players, Mo.
No, a lot of players.
Consistently underperformed in this team. And you know what? Leno is not one of our worst players. He's actually one of our better players.
Yeah, I mean,
I was surprised.
Yeah, but the thing is, like Levers said, distribution is the key. That's why he hasn't been dropped because he's done something, like made any mistakes. He's been dropped because he just doesn't have that about his game. So, I feel sorry for him in a way, but listen, Arsenal need to be a club that stops feeling sorry for people and just starts becoming more results-oriented. And I wish we could apply that to the manager as well.
Tom, you heard what the guy said. Do you think there is maybe Leno picked up a knock, or maybe he was slightly, because of the international travel, it was a bit of an issue? Or, as the guy said, Arteta is looking at this and thinking, Ramsdale is going to start for me. He's going to be my number one. And also, the other question I want to put to you, and I'm going to go back on the guys on this. Is it that much of a difference between Ramsdale and Leno that he will just come and start play straight away?
Shaheen, can I throw a third question in there as well?
You can, Lev. Go on, my son.
And is it also linked to the fact that potentially we already know that Leno wants to go, and we're planning for him leaving?
Yeah.
The thing, I think that
You're mute, Mo.
Sorry, I was going to say that's a brilliant point by Lev.
Yeah. I was going to say that, Lev. I think you've hit the nail on the head.
You know your football, Lev.
I'm gonna. if you carry this on, I'll take you off the screen. I'll block you.
We know about football. We know about football.
Yeah.
You and Tom.
Oh man,
sorry. Anyway.
I'm almost feeling sorry for him now. This is bad. I've got a conscience, lads. I've got a conscience.
I know shit about football. I know shit about football. It's a new catchphrase.
Sorry, Tom. I'm sorry on their behalf for keep interrupting you. Carry on.
It's fine, mate. I forgive you. I'm going over to Shaheen's side. I'm going to Team Shaheen.
Thank you. You'll be back, Tom.
Yeah, I'll probably. Yeah. As soon as I get the governor back on, I've got switch sides again. No, when it comes down to Ramsdale, like I genuinely look at it as a brave choice from Arteta. I think there were some travel issues with Germany getting back from, I think it may have been Iceland, with Leno, but I feel like this has been coming. And I also feel like Ramsdale had the benefit of staying back during the international break, trained with Arteta throughout that international break and proved himself. I mean, Leno, I don't know how many minutes Leno even played over the international break. It's not something I checked on. But Ramsdale was there playing week in, week out, the 2 weeks that he had there, but was really showing himself to Arteta in training. And as we talked about, like £24 million for a backup, it doesn't tell me that that's going to be a backup. That tells me that you're buying someone with the scope to take on that number one role should it need to be done. And it clearly does. And I don't know if you've seen this on social media, but I've seen a couple of people bring up the Emi. I know we can't really talk about goalkeepers without mentioning Emi Martinez in kind of the same conversations. But whilst I am currently on the side of thinking a change of manager is still the right decision, I feel like the criticism that's being thrown towards Arteta regarding Emi Martinez's sale and then buying Ramsdale as a £24 million kind of replacement when we sold arguably what we would describe right now as a better keeper in Martinez, and we sold him for 17 million. And so therefore that's a stick to beat the manager with. I find that really strange because surely you should, judge each decision by the merit of their worth. And the Ramsdale buy, if anything, is something to praise the coach for. Like, he's identified that Leno is not doing enough. He's not just gone and got Matt Ryan for another year. He's not just gone and got someone on the cheap. He's got someone that's homegrown. He pushed specifically for that signing. Edu was leaning more towards Neto, from what we understand. But Arteta pushed for Ramsdale, and he's looking in the early stages, and it is very early right now to have a full evaluation. But he's looking like everything that we have needed in a keeper, someone that can distribute the ball. And I talked about this on TGT, in that by bringing a new keeper in, you're basically giving the defenders a clean slate, because once you've got a goalkeeper that like kind of sows that seed of doubt in the minds of defenders, it changes the way that they play. And we've seen from some of the issues with Leno from goal kicks, from when the ball's passed back to him under pressure, that he panics and he doesn't deal well with those situations. And so if you're a defender and you're looking to pass the ball back, in your mind, knowing that Leno has had these errors in his game, you are going to think twice. And in that just moment of indecision, you yourself could make a mistake as a defender. So by kind of wiping the slate clean and bringing in Ramsdale, who is known for playing out well with his feet, and then giving him an early opportunity against West Brom initially to show that, and then again against Norwich 2 days ago, I think that he's done really well to kind of establish that trust from the defenders, that they can trust Ramsdale to play the ball back to him, and that he's not. I mean, did you see the little flick he did round Timu Pukki under pressure? Like, Leno, I feel may have, and it's maybe unfair to judge, but from the evidence that we've seen prior, that he might have panicked in that situation and kicked it straight to Pukki, or kicked it out, or done something different. But he gives me more confidence, that's for sure.
Look, Shaheen, it is still early. I mean, it is only we need to see more of him as a goalkeeper, but that's the initial thoughts, I think.
Yeah, initial thoughts. But the one thing we haven't spoken about is that because it was Norwich and not Chelsea, for example, we didn't see him in terms of his shot-stopping ability.
Yeah.
For me, that's the primary concern with a goalkeeper. Well, the ball playing is a nice to have. So it's like when I look at fullbacks, I don't look at what they do going forward as my starting point. I look at them doing their defending. So debut by Takahiro Tomiyasu, it was his defending that really pleased me. His aerial duels that really pleased me. The going forward bit was the plus point. And that's why I'd say, as Tom said, very early conclusions on Ramsdale. But actually, to really, really judge him correctly, if he plays against Tottenham, that'll be a game to see, all right, let's see what you do against Son and Kane and those sorts of players.
Well, Mo, sorry, Lev, you want to say something?
Well, I'm just saying, this is the profile of player we're going for. I like, because Ramsdale, he's cut his cloth at the lower levels as well. And when he played for Sheffield United and Bournemouth, he won Players Player of the Year, Fans Player of the Year, should I say, and Young Player of the Year. So he's had plenty of practice shots wise. So let's hope we can keep him out.
And also, can we just say, like, doesn't he seem like just a great guy?
Yes. Yeah, he's already won the fans over, isn't he?
Yeah, I love him already. He seems really down to earth and humble, and I just really like him. I don't know why. Sometimes you get a really good vibe from a player. Whilst Leno, no offense, he's always seemed a bit more cold, a bit more reserved.
German. Very
He
good.
looks happy to be there, and he looks like he really wants to win. He cheers everything.
Well, listen,
you know what I mean? He's up for
talking
it.
about this new players and how we like Ramsdale. I'd like to talk about something else, but before I do, we've got about just under 240, 250 people watching, and only 53 likes, which is unacceptable, guys.
Man.
Come on, please hit that like button. It really helps us. And obviously, subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, subscribe to Moh's channel, Goonertalktv, Tom, and help us get this show going around, and so people can obviously enjoy our wonderful conversation.
You're nearly on 16,000 subs, aren't you now, Shaheen? Isn't it very close?
Just under, almost there.
Very close.
You know, I just want to ask a question here. Do you know, often like we talk about football players and we always say, oh, they should do this or they should do that. And sometimes I've made the point quite a few times in the past when I've been speaking about football, that do we actually apply these same standards to us in our day jobs? So I'm just curious now. I want to do a little test with you guys, yeah? Shaheen, you've just asked everyone to hit...
I have a feeling something is coming my way.
Yeah?
Go on.
No, it's not just for you, it's for everyone. It's for Lev and Tom, yeah? You've just asked everyone to hit the like button, and hopefully people are doing that. People are going right now, hitting that like button. Out of you three, who's actually hit that like button themselves?
Me, I did.
You did?
I do it every time I come on a show, I press the thumbs up video.
Have you hit the like button?
I have, yeah, I have, yeah. I wouldn't ask the question had I not, but Good, I like that.
We
Voting for
can't
yourself.
prove it though, can we?
Yeah,
Can't.
we like our content, so we like it.
Send you a picture.
No, but listen, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. So, since the season start, everybody was on about players injured, this, that. Ben White was down with COVID. So against Norwich, and admittedly, Norwich is not the most toughest of opponents, right? We had a whole new back four, a back five rather, right? So we had Ramsdale in goal, we had a new right back, we had, for the first time, we had a pairing of White and Gabriel in the middle, and Tierney. So I'll start with you, Lev. First,
Yes.
what was your thoughts on the new right back? Tommy
Right, yeah.
And also, obviously, Norwich they're not going to cause a lot of problems for Arsenal. Whereas Burnley away, right, would be a completely different game. And it's a game that Ben White struggled. It's a type of game that Ben White struggled last time around, where you've got like an Ashley Barnes type player playing for Burnley, and they're just going to be playing long balls up to him to hold up. Against Brentford, it was a bit of an ask really for them. So how did you assess the back five performance against Norwich? And also, how do you see them faring against a Burnley type? Because it's a completely different football.
Yeah, listen, the one thing I noticed with Gabriel and White at the back was the ability to recover quicker. So sometimes a player did get in behind, but they recovered quick. They're more fleet of foot than what we've seen with the likes of Mari and Holding. Yeah, they seem to be able to get back and make an amends for someone getting in behind. There was a video clip going around, I think, of White going out to block across, or to sort of intercept a pass, and then it was the Gabriel block you guys were talking about, and some were saying, well, shouldn't have White gone in a bit more? Was he too far away? I think White did the right thing there, because he saw there could have been pass there, and Gabriel did the right thing. He covered. So there seems to be an initial positive sign that it could work. My one concern is aerially how they will cope. I think they're much better on the ball. They look much more assured, distribution-wise. They're quick. Just aerial. Will they be able to cope, exactly like you said, with the likes of a Lukaku, or that big old number 9 who backs into you, chests it, and manhandles you? We're going to see these things against the likes of Burnley and teams like that away. I'm hoping Ben White, he's played in the Championship. He done a whole season with Leeds, and they won the promotion. And they loved him there. So he's obviously capable of playing in those types of tough and rough and tumble leagues. So I'm expecting, hopefully, some good positivity from those two. And I like Tomiyasu in particular. Done a lot of research on him since we found out.
What did you like about him?
He's what? He's tall, but he's quick for someone who's tall. He's two-footed, equally as comfortable left and on his right. He's very difficult to go past one-on-one. And it gives us that additional aerial ability at the back, because the teams were highlighting the likes of Bellerin and Cedric at the back, hitting crosses back post, and we were letting in goals from that area. So I think it's good that we've got someone who can come in from and sweep up around the back post, etc. But also, like Mo said, it was a positive to see him actually bomb on a little bit more. He's got that opportunity with a team like Arsenal. He wasn't able to do that at Bologna.
Just a quick one. Hey,
yes.
Tom, are you getting a bit sassy in the comments, Tom?
Yeah, I can see Tommy's going back and forth.
Wait.
I don't get to do this on my show, so I'm enjoying this.
I love the sassiness. Do you see it?
You know what's funny is I have quite a quick kind of a reaction to kind of the block button in my channel. So when I go on
another diva in the house.
When I go on other shows, I get a lot of people turning up who have obviously been blocked from TGT. Yeah. So I then get to actually respond the way that I would like to. But on TGT, it's like, no, see you later. You're good.
Tom, if you see Devan, say hi.
Shaheen, can you put up Tom's comment? Can you put up Tom's sassy comment?
Oh, yeah. I don't know which one it is. Is it this one?
Yeah, it is. I like it.
It's so true. It's so funny. Like, as soon as you send someone, here's your point. I've asked you, why do you think that? They give their response, which is usually baseless, and I'm like, here's the evidence to suggest why you're wrong. Oh, you're a stat merchant. It's like the Trump equivalent of fake news. It's what it is.
But
Facts don't matter.
Tom, give us the context. So what was that comment about? What was the point?
So it's a discussion about kind of Ramsdale and Leno, and I think it was Gwyn in the chat. By the way, Gwyn, make sure you drop a like on the video. You've taken the effort to tune in. Saying that Leno is far better than Ramsdale. And so I replied, why? Like, why is he better? And Gwyn replied saying, well, if you watched him during last season, I said, I did watch him. I've watched both of them. And I think that Ramsdale last season was better. And I think that across kind of all the different things of looking at a goalkeeper from shot stopping to passing out from the back. And you can see that in their XCG, which is kind of the expected conceded goals, which basically means
appreciating the conversation now.
There you go. Of all the
drop the like.
Of all the what XCG basically means, of all the shots that a goalkeeper faces, it's how many they're expected to concede from where they're taken from. And both Ramsdale and Leno are pretty much bang on of what they were expected to concede. But so that levels them out in that regard for shot stopping. But when you look at the distribution stats, Ramsdale's accuracy, frequency, everything is so superior to Leno's. So on balance, last season, Ramsdale was better in a team that got absolutely done every game. So it's interesting. And so it's always good to, when someone has a point, just say, why do you think that? And then if they don't really have
now someone's trying to get me in on this as well. Lev was laughing at my XG the other day.
Going back to the conversation, Mo, what was your thoughts on the new back five and our new signing a right back?
Yeah, I mean, look, I really liked him. Also, I do want to say, Gwyn, come on, put a comment in. Let us know whether Tom has convinced you or not. Because to be fair, I feel
I think he's a bit of a stat merch myself, but
yeah, he's to be fair, I think you've backed it up personally. But anyway, Takahiro, yeah, I was really, really happy because, as I say, talking about the goalkeeper, I look at the ability to not concede goals before I look at anything else. And with a defender, a fullback, I know in the model game they always have to get forward, but I look at ability to stop wingers having, freedom of the park and getting crosses in and beating their man and stuff. That's what I look at first. Arsenal, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Arsenal never, ever bother trying to stop crosses coming in. And Takahiro seems like he was trying to do that a little bit more. I need to look at the stats. Call me a stat merchant if you want, into how many crosses he actually stopped coming in. But I really like what I saw from him, and I was expecting a little bit of nerves from him, to be honest with you, as a debut and being chucked straight into it, because it's very difficult for Arsenal right now, and I felt that maybe he would be aware of just how much pressure there is, and I thought if we're not scoring early enough, then the fans could turn, that sort of thing. His debut went really, really well. He performed really well, almost scored a wonder goal. Can you imagine?
That was a good strike.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I thought he showed really good technique to do whatever he could to try and get his body over the board. I mean, that, if we're talking about expected goals, would not have registered barely as an expected goal because it would have been incredibly hard to score from there. And getting forward, as you said, Lev, I noticed on many occasions that he's using his left foot very comfortably, which is a real relief to me. So I was really happy with him, and just pleased for the guy. It's just looks like
he had a really good volley as well, which he was unlucky.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah, that was the chance we were talking about. It was a great strike.
Sorry, Mo. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so for me, I feel as though he's looks like a good addition, but just like Ramsdale, there's going to be plenty more questions, plenty tougher assignments for him. So these are all very, very early conclusions. Now, look, there's no point, I don't know if anyone has or not, but there's no point coming in the chat saying, oh, it's only been one game. We all know that. The point is, we're here to speak about what we've seen so far. And there's no point in us trying to caveat everything and not give you any opinions. We're here to talk about what we've seen and go out there and not sit on the fence the whole time. So far, what I've seen of our new signings, I'm pleased with.
Okay. Tom, what about you?
Yeah, I liked Tomiyasu. I changed my mind a lot about him over the summer. When I first saw that Spurs were linked, I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't know anything, and I made kind of a baseless opinion like that. Doesn't really worry me that Spurs are interested because I've never heard of him, which is really lazy. And then when Arsenal got linked to him, I was like, right, okay, I should probably do quite a bit more research into this guy. And so we had a guy on who writes for Get Italian Football News and for Football Italia, and he came on the show and talked about him. And by the end of the show, my opinion had completely been educated on him. And I think that if you watch him for Bologna, and I've since speaking about him and watching him and being linked to him, I've watched kind of all the highlights of him last season and then looking into kind of some of the more finer details on Y-Scout of his game. He seems quite restricted offensively going forwards, but I think that's more down to him playing for Bologna in Serie A than it is his own style. And he was originally in fact, he's played in defensive midfield when he was in Belgium. So he's kind of transitioned from a midfielder to centre-back and now to right-back. And I think at Arsenal, he's going to be given more freedom to move forwards, that he wasn't allowed that same freedom playing for Bologna. And I think what you saw was a player that is going to have a really good impact on Pepe. And though that kind of partnership between those two is going to be good. And also the partnership between him and Ben White is going to be good. Both of them, being a centre-back, understands the discipline of the role. So when Ben White pushes forward, as he likes to do, to dribble out from the back, which I was really impressed with on Saturday as well, Tomiyasu remains disciplined, drops back in and becomes that shield for us on the right-hand side. So we have the security there in case White was to, say, lose the ball. So I'm excited to see what he does and how that kind of role for him changes. And I think the fact that he came straight in after a day and a half when we have Cedric and Maitland-Niles and Chambers all available, came straight into the team. I think that tells you all the confidence in the world is behind him and from Arteta.
And Shaheen, can I just add there, again, profile of the player we're going for. This lad has always been technically and physically gifted. He went over to a trial, the Barcelona camp, and they wanted him to go to the academy, but he couldn't go because of where he lived. So he went back to Japan and he's worked his way up from the J League. His disciplinary record's amazing for someone who's a defender as well. I think he's only been sent off once, something like that. And, you know, it's obviously someone that learns very quickly from a young age. And so, again, I like the profile of the type of player we're going for. And to add, we were in for Emerson Royale first. It's been revealed since today on The Athletic. And we had a chance to offer them the Bellerin swap and at first dibs at Emerson Royale when they didn't think he was the right fit. And apparently we've been watching Tomiyasu for quite some time. So there you go.
I thought they played well together as well. Obviously, Norwich didn't really put anything on Arsenal defense as much as they should have, but I thought they dealt with things well, whatever it was put in front of them. I think next week Burnley away is a completely different game, and I'm really interested to see how they would deal with the physical presence of the Burnley forwards playing up front. So that's one thing to look for. And as Moh said, and as the title of the video says, it's Arsenal versus Norwich. So we're just talking about what we saw against Norwich. We're not talking about them as a player. We're not talking about their careers. We're just talking about one game. That what it was. I want to ask you guys something. There was something that was said on a post-match press conference of the manager that I didn't quite understand. I don't know if this was tongue-in-cheek or what it was. But Mikel Arteta, he turned around and said, well, Tom, you're a journalist, so I'll come to you first. He turned around and said, this has been the best 2 weeks of his football career. Now, or managerial career, rather. Now, admittedly, that's a very short career, and one would say very hit and miss. But I couldn't work that one out. What he's on about is being best 2 weeks of his career, because I know there's a lot of criticism that came Arsenal's way. So can you shed some light on that?
I think what he's trying to say is that it's a situation where you've lost 3 games and you're on the lowest of the low point. And he is going to have to, I'm assuming he's kind of looking at it from the perspective of what he's going to learn from those defeats as a manager and kind of what he's going to take from those games. And then he's got the opportunity during an international break where there's not a game for 2 weeks to work with a lot of the squad, because a lot of the squad don't go on the international break because we don't have a lot of international players at the moment, quite sadly. But I think he's been able to work on that. There were some things I noticed that were improvements in the team, in how dominant we were, and how many chances we created, and how many shots we took during the game, which has been such a problem for us under Arteta, is the number of chances we're making during games, and clear-cut chances as well. I also liked the way in which we shifted tactically to score the goal. We took off Lokonga at the time, where I think a lot of people, including myself, criticised that decision, and put Maitland-Niles at right back, but actually that double substitution, a couple of minutes later, we scored the goal. So the credit for that, you have to put towards Arteta for shifting that. It was a Partey pass that was moved into Bukayo Saka. Really amazing pass from Partey. If you haven't seen it and the highlights, please make sure you go and have a look. The pass into Saka to then feed Pepe, and then very fortunately we ended up getting the goal. But of course, that was a shot from Pepe that hit the post. It was a clear-cut chance in the first place. So that was positive. So I think he's kind of, from the perspective of just trying to analyze what he's saying and try to make sense of it, I think he's looking at it as a learning opportunity, and that's why it's been his best 10. I don't agree with that as a kind of just a flat fact, but I think from that perspective, it makes a little bit of sense.
Mo, what about you? What did you take from that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I just don't think we can reach too many conclusions. Like, it is just Norwich. It's all about, as I say, it's about building. It's all about building on it. You know, so that's what I want to see. I just seen in the chat someone's talking about Ben White versus Chris Wood. Yeah. Now, when we go and see all these different individual battles, these different moments in a new game, I want to see whether Thomas Partey, like Tom's talking about, that wonderful pass into Saka, I want to see whether he can now go and do that against more of a lower block, because, you know, Burnley, we know how they play and stuff. So we can't read into this too much. Just want to see whether we can go in, build on this, and put in a better performance, get a better result, do what we need to do in the 90 minutes, and actually get some wins on the board.
Fair enough. Lev?
I just find it ironic that he says his best 2 weeks are the 2 weeks that we didn't have any football. Like, it was international. Like, what does that say? I don't know what else to read into it. It's a crazy statement when it's the 2 week period that you haven't really been involved, and you claim that's the best. Is it because the pressure's too much? Is it because no one's talking about you? Is it because you've got time to work with you? I don't know what he meant by it, to be honest with you. I don't really care. But
Lev, look, you know, we just can't read into it. Managers talk crap all the time.
Yeah, but what is that crap he's saying? It's the best 2 weeks of my life. What does it mean?
Yeah, but they just talk crap all the time.
Did he think that was an international break when he said it?
You know, sometimes, like, you know, you almost need to double down, right? Things are going really, really difficult. Either you can turn around and show some weakness, but you've got to double down on it and show strength.
No, I understand that.
I just think he was just doing that, you know.
Yeah, but it's an ironic statement. That's all I'm saying. But like,
fair enough. Look, we can't read into it. If we go and win next week, if we go and beat Tottenham, then maybe we can turn around and say, now it makes sense. Because obviously something clicked in those 2 weeks. Forget about the words. Let's go and build on that result, and then we might understand. If we don't build on it, well, then it's nonsense.
Actions speak louder than words, as they say. I thought, you know what, one thing that was really evident was the difference that Thomas Partey makes to this team. And when he came on, and you know, we all agreed on the last show that he's probably one of the only world-class player we have on our squad. And when he came on, he made a real difference. And another interesting point is that we've been talking about 47 minutes. Not once somebody mentioned Odegaard, and I thought that he would have played a lot better against a poor Norwich team. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys about something else. We're done with the Arsenal Norwich business.
Can I just say one other thing about the Norwich thing we haven't really clicked on?
Last one. Make it
one last. Right, I did notice that playing Aubameyang down the middle and two naturally more wider players, we saw more runs being made in behind, and the likes of Ben White trying to pick them out, and Odegaard, and for the first time, Aubameyang looked more like Aubameyang in that game, and I think it's because of the setup. That's what I have to say. Cool.
I want to talk to you guys about something that I've seen going around Twitter yesterday and today. And I want to get your thoughts on it. And I want to discuss this because I know we get a lot of international fans at Arsenal Lounge. And people watch us from America, Canada, Nigeria, Arabic countries, Canada as well. If you've never been to the Emirates Stadium, right? Are you still entitled to have a YouTube channel? And don't smile, Mo. Don't smile. Would that make you less of a fan if you have never been to Arsenal? Now, it's a touchy subject, this, and I know everybody who watch us. And if you're overseas, please, if you're watching the show afterwards, write your thoughts for us in the comments. Please make sure you do, because we want to read this, and it's very important, right? And I know a lot of people from Gooner Glenn, I know he's from America, and you all think this is bullshit, and this and that. But
Well,
I know some people.
I didn't see this tweet. What was this tweet? What we referring?
Well, I don't want to mention names or anything like that. But I explain to you what it is. But I know people who they were nowhere, nowhere, and then out of a sudden they all created an Arsenal channel, and now they're talking about Arsenal, and sometimes they can't even get certain things right. Not everybody, and I'm against this whole idea that if you have never been to the Emirates, you're not allowed to run a YouTube channel. Quite the opposite. There was a video that went around of a guy that has got a YouTube channel I think in America, if I'm not mistaken, and it was his first time to the Emirates, and he was very excited, bless him, and he was all happy, and the video.
Oh, I
was
saw
going
that
around,
video. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so you know what I'm talking about.
Sorry,
and
I was
somebody
lost
commented that if this is your first time coming to the Emirates, then don't post the thing for the post. Don't post the video for the clicks and and blogs, and you shouldn't even run a YouTube channel. Now, my personal view on this is that Arsenal is a club for everybody and everybody around the world, right? We're all part of a club, really. So it doesn't matter where you're from, and you can have a YouTube channel, and we're all lucky that we're here and we get to go to the Emirates. Sometimes not really, because they let us down, but generally we're lucky that we're around, and some people have season tickets, some people get tickets, some people get club level and box tickets, and we go on from there. But Mo, I'll come to you. What's your thoughts in this whole debate? I'm sure, have you seen this? You know what I'm talking about, this thing on Twitter?
Arsenal even shared it, didn't they? They quote.
They shared the video. They shared the video, not their aftermath, though.
Yeah. But what I say to this is, like, with a lot of subjects, I try and be, as I say, elevate the discussion a little bit more rather than saying something's good, something's crap. With this one, I'm not going to do that because there's nothing to elevate. People that say that are talking absolute rubbish, absolute nonsense. To suggest to someone that by default their knowledge is somehow inferior because they haven't been to the game is so unfair, and it really actually bothers me. Because of my personal experience, I've been around the world and watched so many Arsenal games in different countries. When I've been on holidays and that sort of thing, and I've met up with different people, spoken to different people, and it staggers me sometimes when I speak to fans who live in America or wherever it might be, like Cuba, flipping Singapore, anywhere, and you look at the level of obsession that they have with the club. They actually overcompensate in many, many cases. Obviously, not all of them, but in many cases.
Can I stop? Can I interrupt you 1 second? First of all, I've just seen your message on Twitter, and I love you, right? Second of all, you've been to one of these things that you're talking about. I remember you went to Arsenal Far East tour, and you can tell us about the overseas fans, that what they're like, exactly what you were talking about. So yeah.
It's mental. They overcompensate so much that they'll probably be able to tell me, like, the name of the firm who bred Sambila Conga's pit bull. And I'm like, what?
Has he got a pit bull?
I don't know. It's just an example. But, I'm just like, man, why do you know this stuff? But because they can't go to games, they spend their time doing so much more. And I look at the games and I see people like spending more time in the concourse drinking than actually, in the seat. And a lot of times I kind of think to myself, it's about that quality time, not like, the way you analyze the game and how much attention you pay, rather than just kind of the lazy, I've been to games, that makes me a better fan. I actually resent that, to be honest with you. And I've got a tremendous amount of respect for overseas fans. I remember I was in Australia once and I wanted to watch Arsenal Liverpool. I had to get a sort of like a Boris bike equivalent from my hotel and ride a bike to a casino at a stupid time in the morning to go and watch the game. And when I got there were loads of other fans. Obviously, they've got cars and everything, but I have to think to myself, if Arsenal were playing, somewhere else, let's say, for example, I was living in Dubai for a year, would I have that? Would I do that? Or would I just say, I won't watch a game on this occasion? There's people that go do stupid things. And let's not forget, these people have got jobs, they've got kids, they've got everything else, yet they go and wake up at like 6 a.m. to go to a random casino, and they're watching the game. To me, it's a non-starter. We're lucky we live in sort of close proximity to the ground and we can go to the ground. I wouldn't even entertain this conversation. I think it's really unfair.
Lev.
I'm with Mo on this one. I mean, look, not everybody is fortunate enough to live right next to a stadium or in London where they could get to a stadium. You know, you've got to understand the players that have come through Arsenal. The best players were French or Spanish or German, or these people, they grew up watching these players that maybe they were in France, maybe they were in Africa, maybe they were in India, wherever, and that's what endeared them to the team, and they've grown up loving that team. And there's no different to us. It's just that we're fortunate enough that we can go there. To them, it's a pipe dream. To them, it's like it's almost like a pilgrimage to go to that ground if you're a proper Arsenal fan. Let's be honest, right? So imagine getting on a plane and coming in. Some people want to go and see Buckingham Palace. Some people want to go and see the sights. These people, for them, the big thing is going to the Emirates ground, and seeing that as a major thing in their life. So how can we sit there and judge? And also, not everyone has the money to be able to buy season tickets, even if they do live here. Does that make them any lesser of a fan than we are just because of their circumstances? You're a product of your own environment. That's not your fault. Doesn't make you any less of a fan. I think it's like, what is this? It's arrogance to say it, in my opinion.
Arsenal is following what you said, Mo. I think Arsenal is the most expensive tickets in Europe.
Yeah.
And it's not, for people to come watch Arsenal from overseas, considering the flights, the hotels, and the tickets, it's quite expensive. And I'm sure for the ones that you've been in the Emirates, you will see, and for the ones who you've never been to Emirates, once you go, there's a lot of flags and banners around the stadium. Algerian Gooners, German Gooners, Japanese Gooners. There's even the Iranian Gooners there. All the countries, so it just shows how much of, and Arsenal is a big club, right? Arsenal is a massive club, massive name, because of the international community, because we have international fans. I think we have more international fans than Chelsea or Man City or clubs like that. Maybe not Man United, but we rival Man United, Real Madrid, and Barcelona. I remember us going away, even for this Far East tour that I quite remember, Mo, that you went on there. Our games was sold out stadiums, whereas Chelsea or even Bayern Munich was not fully sold out. So they're important. They're as big as home support.
Yeah,
I feel.
So look, to that guy who's getting stick, I can't remember his name, even though I did see the tweet. Do your thing, carry on going, and we respect it. In fact, I love it. If
you watch this channel, you want to come here and you want to talk to us about it, because I know you got a YouTube channel, by all means, go for it. Tom, what's your thoughts?
I just find it incredibly hypocritical, to be honest. I think it's ridiculous. We've all got YouTube channels. We all know that our kind of listener base stretches the entire globe, and that people tune in from all the four corners. Because YouTube in itself is ironically one of the only ways in which fans that can't get to the stadium can connect, can get their own kind of experience of Arsenal fandom. Even from a UK perspective, from where I'm very close to London. I'm only like a 40-minute train ride away from the stadium. But the point is that my group of mates, I'm one of two Arsenal fans in that group. And like of my close circle of friends, like I'm the only Arsenal fan. And before I started doing podcasts, before I started going to games when I was in my late teens, I got to my first game quite late in kind of my Arsenal supporting life, which is fine, although some people might tell you now that I'm not as much of an Arsenal fan as them. But the point is that before getting into podcasting, I never had anywhere near as many kind of people in my circles of friends who are Arsenal fans as I do, thanks to podcasting and thanks to that. And when I say it's hypocritical because if Arsenal didn't have this global fan base as a club, as a company, as KSE might want to call it, and we can criticize that all the live long day, but footballs need to be businesses to be successes. You speak to any football club on the planet, without the revenue that they earn, they wouldn't be succeeding in the level that they are. And whilst Arsenal may not be succeeding at the level that we want them desperately to be right now, and a lot of that is down to the business side of the game, I don't think they'd be in the Premier League if they were only had a fan base that was situated with people that had been to an Arsenal game. I think they'd struggle to even compete in the top couple of leagues if that was the case, because Arsenal needs a global fan base. It's worthy of a global fan base, and every single person that claims to be an Arsenal fan he's an Arsenal fan. If you say that you support the red and white, that's all that's needed for me. Like, you're an Arsenal fan, whether you've been to the game or not. And it's just important that I think people don't lose their heads in as much.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to say as well, for me, when I set up my YouTube channel, I actually approached international fans because I wanted their perspective. So I think we need to move the conversation about, are their opinions like less valid? Actually, let's go beyond even parity. They've got their own unique view that I'm actually interested in seeing. So they absolutely belong, and I like knowing about their experiences, how they watch the games, the lens that they go to. So
yeah, of course. And look, since we've opened our channel, we've had some people who are not here, but their passion for Arsenal is phenomenal. And you know what? Maybe more than me, who lives here sometimes. To give you an example, Eduardo, right? Edu, he's got a massive Twitter account. He's in Chile, but he probably knows more about Arsenal than I do. We had another guy.
Yeah, but you don't know anything, do you? That's the whole point.
I don't know anything, so it's not hard. You know, we had African Gooner, who also he was very passionate about Arsenal. Lev does an after game, reaction where fans get to come on and talk about their thing. And majority of these guys are overseas, and they want to come on and they have very, very exciting or interesting thoughts. We love all Arsenal fans, regardless of where you're from. And there's some fantastic overseas things. Like, I know Arsenal they do this big thing in New Orleans in America, where once a year they do these drives, and then and I would love to go once and experience it.
Can I just say the other thing as well? Because Ashwin Watkins, I have to applaud you, because I think his comment is brilliant.
I'm gonna put his comment on. Mo, give me 1 second, because there was a super chat earlier, and because we were talking about this subject.
That is a good statement.
But Jay Letitia, maybe he's related to Matt Letitia. I don't know. North London will end in a draw. Spurs will have all the players back. Thank you for that.
Well, listen.
Who did you want? Who are you talking about, Mo?
Ashwin Watkins. This is a fantastic comment. I love it when sometimes people they put a comment forward and you just think to yourself, nailed it. You've absolutely cut through the stupidity of the logic that people try and come up with to criticize overseas fans, when all of us, according to this, are begging for Dangote, the Qataris, Daniel Ek, none of whom are English, British based. We're begging for them to come and take over the club. And now, if it wasn't for overseas fans, whom all three of these qualifiers, you wouldn't have even that potential. We'd be relying on only UK people buying our club. So on one hand, just like you said, you can't criticize foreign fans for having a YouTube channel, yet you want a foreign fan to come and actually own the club. So yeah,
that's a massive statement.
Tom had to get that in, didn't he?
He's one of my boys.
Guys, we've been going for about an hour. I just want to thank everybody who gave us their time and watched the show. Subscribe to Arsenal Lounge. Please hit the like on the video. Comment on the video about this international fan business. Me and Lev will read through all your comments, even the ones that
the hurtful ones, the really hurtful ones.
Subscribe to Mo.
Removes all his. He removes them all.
Subscribe to Mo. Subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to Goonertalktv. We do this every Monday at 8:00, and we love having you guys, and you guys are listening to what we have to say, and we're very grateful. Mo, any last words?
Well, I think the super chat that you pulled up, I know we're quite far away, but seeing as you brought that up, how are you feeling about the North London derby? I know we've got Burnley before it. I know
nervous,
but
nervous.
Do you think
and it's super important for me. That's why I'm nervous about it. And I know.
So if I'm
it's super important for Arteta, isn't it?
Yeah.
But let's say Burnley, Tottenham. How many points are we getting?
Woo.
2.
4.
Who said 4? What? 3 Burnley, 1 Tottenham.
Yeah.
I'll say 2.
I'm an optimist though, so.
Love, what about you?
I'll say 2 because I can't say 0.
Do you know, I'm torn between being ultra optimistic and realistic.
Guys, what about you in the comments? Please tell us how many points we think we're going to get.
I reckon it could be the other way round. It could be 1 point 6? Against Burnley and then 3 against Spurs.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that personally. Burnley, they're playing Everton right now, and as we speak, it's 0-0. They're holding firm, I guess. I'm not watching the game, obviously. I don't know why I've got a sneaky suspicion we'll beat Tottenham. I just do. So I think it might be 4 points, and I think Burnley are going to be very stubborn.
You said 2. You said 2. Tom said 4. Mo said you said 4 as well. I was saying 4. So do you know what? I'm just going to be ultra positive. Say 6. Go on. One of us has to say. One of us has to do it. So I'm going to go 6 points. We're beating Burnley. We're beating Spurs.
Can I change my answer to 6 now?
I'll still go for 2.
I'll go for 4 if you go 6, Tom.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Do you know what, Shaheen? Right, because he knows nothing about football, I thought you might say 5.
Yeah, no, I was going to say 6. I was going to say 7 since I don't know nothing about football.
5
I
or
was gonna
7.
say 7.
I was going to say 2 points for a win, weren't you? There?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Tom, what about you? Last thoughts.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it. As I say, I'm just taking it game by game now, and just got to see the improvements and the areas that we need to improve on each game, and growing confidence. Everyone's back, so week of training under their belt. Champions League football. No, Burnley aren't in it, but Champions League football is going on this week, and Arsenal have a chance to just work on everything whilst everyone else is busy with the stuff that we want to be in. But yeah, I'm optimistic, mate. And thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
You're part of our panel, man. We appreciate. We like having you on, and we appreciate you having us on our channel, on your channel as well. Lev, you get to have the last word.
I'll get to have the last word.
Yeah,
do you know what? I was thinking, people were constantly saying like, yeah, Shaheen don't know nothing about football, and there's actually a video of you playing football. So I was wondering if we should drop that. Like,
Lev, man,
What?
So for you guys saying that Shaheen doesn't know anything about football, there you go. I was just helping Shaheen a little bit there to prove that Shaheen can play football. He might not know much about it, but he can play a little bit. So take
that was
it
actually
easy.
at the Emirates.
That wasn't the Emirates.
We can flipping tell, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm really disappointed, though. I was really
I've got
looking
red
forward
now.
to seeing a
You
blooper.
done me over like a kipper, man.
I felt sorry for him. I did feel sorry for him.
I can't believe it. I really wanted to see him mess it up, but that was actually a tidy finish.
It was a tidy finish. So yeah, he doesn't know much about it, but he can finish. There you go. So I just thought I'd help you out a little bit.
It's like the Michael Owen of our podcast.
But a bit like Matt
I've got
Letizia
some nice
now.
clips more. I'll send it to you later.
Yeah.
But
All right.
Thank you, guys. Honestly, thank you for being here, for watching us. We're really grateful. It's been a hard journey for me and Lev to get this channel to where it is now. And we're grateful for every single one of you who watch us. Comment, hit the like, and subscribe. Lev is going to do a show on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So please tune in and watch that show. It's all about positives and negatives of the Arsenal. And if you watch the game, and if you want to see after game reactions, go to Moh's channel. You can see Moh's reaction on games, and some people, including myself, give their match reaction to that. If you want to talk about daily things at Arsenal, the Goonertalktv, Tom does videos every day. Check him out. And your week is covered. What else do you want? Anyway, guys, again, thank you very much. Please hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure you comment about this international thing. We're really interested. Lev, do the business.
Listen, loungers, it's been a pleasure having you. Please join us on Wednesday. Keep supporting, keep hitting those likes and subscribe. Don't freeload, but we'll be back next Monday with this show. I love this show in particular. So, loungers, peace out. We're out of here.